Hey everyone, welcome back to Spooky Reddit Stories with me, Michelle. I have episode 27 available for you today, and today's story is titled, I Have Never Been More Creeped Out in My Life Than Last Night. This story is about 2 years old on Reddit. Locational context. I live on a farm on the side of a mountain in the middle of nowhere in British Columbia's interior. No cell service, neighbors are beyond shouting distance, and a very on your own type of lifestyle out here. My trailer is at the top of the property next to the barn, surrounded 360 degrees with forest except for the little road up here. The mountain, Mount Ida, has a long history with the Aboriginal people of my area. I've been told stories of the mountains since I was a kid. Basically, the summary of every story is people are banished from the mountain because the spirits make it too dangerous. All sorts of weird things have been seen and have happened on this mountain. Last night, around 10:45 p.m., I heard 3 sets of sirens rush by the road. Out here, you never hear sirens. In my cumulative 15 years I've had out here, I've heard 1 siren, and it was earlier this week. Basically, it just intrigued me at that point. It wasn't until about a half an hour later or so that my power cuts out. I'm already in bed at this point. Lights were out. Only way I actually noticed was because I had no Wi-Fi. Now that's always a heart stopper, because out here, no Wi-Fi means I'm entirely on my own. This makes me anxious for sure, but I'm more worried that I won't be able to call the fire department if something catches on fire than anything. Then out of nowhere, I hear this super sharp and loud cry, like a kid who just crashed on a bike. Hysterical crying from what sounds like a young child. My dogs are going absolutely nuts at the door. Now, if you're familiar with cougars and mountain lions, you should know that they can often mimic a child crying, and scary accurately too. So laying there as the tension builds, I'm just telling myself that it's a cougar. That's all. It is just a cougar. For me, that's the best case scenario right now, that it is just a cougar. The dogs have finally calmed down, and I'm still trying to get some shut-eye when I hear the second sound. This was an ungodly sound that I've never heard in my life. This one sounded like a mix of every horror movie monster all in one. I can't even describe it. It was about 5 seconds of pure screeching like a demonic banshee with the vocal cords of a T-Rex. The bass it took shook my bed. It was as if there was a concert-sized sound system hiding in the forest blasting zombie vomit. It's an interesting description. I could taste my heartbeat at this point. My dogs are acting like rabies-ridden pit bulls towards the door, snarling and growling like whatever just screamed was on the other side of the door. I didn't know what to do at this point. I couldn't call or get in contact with anyone. The lights are all off. I'm just laying there in the dark, utterly and completely scared. I was not about to get up and go investigate. It's the middle of winter, of course, too. So I just laid there, checking my phone every 30 seconds, seeing if the Wi-Fi had came back. Nothing else came after, though. Just ended up falling asleep at some point. As of this morning, everything is back to normal. Nothing creepy's going on. The power's back on. Made a post in the local Facebook group. Nobody else in the area heard anything, and only a few lost power as well as me. So take it as you will. Cougar in heat, Bigfoot coming out of hibernation, 1,000-year-old native ghost trying to get me off his land. I'm not a very paranormal guy, and I have no idea what it could have been at this point, and I would love to hear your thoughts, ideas, and questions. So that's the end of his story. However, he did post some updates. So he says, time to update and answer a few questions and ideas from everyone. So to start, it has been confirmed that the sirens and the power was lost due to a motor vehicle incident into a power pole a kilometer or so south down the road. Strangely enough, I have also found out that the other siren a week or so ago was responding to a motor vehicle incident. but in almost the exact same spot. So take that as you will. I also decided to open Reddit for the first time to see all the comments about one this morning. Terrible ideas. You guys have all scared the crap out of me even more, but thank you as well. General update, yes, to everyone mentioning it. I do have a generator. The problem is in the barn along with the Wi-Fi router. Definitely was not going to even open my bedroom door, let alone go outside after hearing that and go into the dark, creepy barn and screw around with the generator. I have checked around the walkable vicinity, no tracks of any interest that were found, although I did not want to go searching through the forest for tracks, to be completely honest. As for pew-pew protection, I would absolutely love to have a pew-pew for this exact reason, but it's a hassle in Canada. And even if I decide tomorrow is the day, it's a long process, and I probably wouldn't have this pew-pew till next winter. So I wouldn't have that there to help me. Cougar, as I said, the first one was definitely a cougar in my opinion. I have heard many cougars throughout my life, and they've made a lot of weird noises. But that second one, I just have a tough time accepting that noise as a cougar. In the defense of being at cougar in heat, though, the weather has been absolutely absurdly strange and very warm, about -15 this time of year, but it's sitting about 0 the past few weeks. This cold could cause some animals, including cougars, into thinking spring is coming and maybe some strange behavior. I would really like to believe that this was some crazy one-off wild animal sound that was just freakishly close to my trailer, but a lot of these Bigfoot theories are very similar to what I experienced. I don't want to even think of the skinwalkers some of you are mentioning. Last night was okay, there was no noises, and the dogs stayed calm all night. Let me tell you though, I fell asleep with a podcast playing just to distract myself from the quiet. I will keep everybody updated if I have another encounter. Thank you. All right, so that's it. That's story 27 here. What do you think? What do you think it is? Clearly, the posters on Reddit, they mentioned skinwalkers. Some of them were talking about a government lab, which didn't really make any sense to me. I didn't read that part of his response. You know, could it just been purely strange animals? Or is this another case of, you know, when you hear stuff in the woods, you don't ask, you don't go. He did look for prints around the house the next day, and he says it was winter, there was snow. So, yeah, I think he should have seen something if the dogs thought something was that close. So, the fact that he saw no prints, kind of interesting, because even if it was a cougar, why were there no prints? Granted, it maybe the sound carried, and I wouldn't want to go in the woods either after that night before. So certainly wouldn't want to go to the barn for the generator in that situation either. So not faulting him there. There are a lot of stories about Bigfoot, like Yeti, you know, the hollering, the screaming being just crazy sounding. You got Native American mixed into there, which I think does bring in the idea of maybe skinwalkers, you know, or something like that. That could be why it had a cougar-like call and then a non-cougar-like call. So what do you think? How would you feel if you were the only one living there in that home, the dogs, and had no way to call for help if something went wrong? That's kind of scary all on its own. Drop your thoughts below, please, in the comments. Tell me what you thought of this story, and I'll see you next time. Thanks, guys.